It is a pleasure to be here with you. I think Brandon's going to cue up the PowerPoint there for me if you can. And as was mentioned earlier, if you don't know me, my name's Allan Self. There are many familiar faces here, and it's great to be back. It's nice to see some faces that I don't recognize too. I think that's a healthy sign. This morning, I've been asked to give a bit of an update on the ministry that my wife Natalie and I are involved with Campus for Christ. It's going to be perhaps a little bit different than a standard sermon and kind of more informational based on what we've been doing for the last couple of years and what God is kind of doing in our lives. And so this is a picture of my wife Natalie and I. We serve with Campus for Christ in Waterloo. And if you're not familiar with Campus for Christ, really the vision of what Campus for Christ is all about stems out of a passage in Matthew. At the end of Jesus' life, Jesus gave sort of a commission, a command to his followers, sort of his last will and testament, so to speak, you might call it. You might also call it the Great Commission, many have called it. And the Great Commission, Matthew 28, says, Jesus said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." And if you notice here in this verse, it's really, I've heard it described as sort of a sandwich. You got these two just incredible promises that God gives through Christ. Christ says, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. And then he says, surely I'll be with you always to the very end of the age. And then in between these two amazing promises, you have this command that Jesus gave to his disciples there that day and has been passed on to us here today, to go and to share the great news that we have in Jesus, to share the gospel, to make disciples of all nations. And that really at its core is what Campus for Christ is all about. Our vision here on the next slide is that we want to change the world by helping students discover Jesus. So we really believe, it's my personal conviction, this is probably why I'm in this ministry, that the university is one of the most strategic places in the world to reach if you want to reach the world. For example, how many of you, just by a show of hands, would love to have your kids or your grandkids go to school and be taught by a teacher who loves Jesus, and every day before class they pray for their kids? How many would love to see that happen? All right, probably most of us. How many would love to go into the hospital and to know that the nurse or the doctor, before they meet with us and then after they meet with us, take time to pray for us because they love Jesus? How many would love to see that happen? Okay. How many would love to interact with a boss at work who manages your company and they lead the company and lead you with integrity and with sincerity and with love and respect for all of their employees? How many would love to have a boss like that? Okay, now here's the thing. Do you know where every single future doctor, nurse, engineer, teacher, lawyer, business owner are right now? They're on the university campuses. So if you think about it, which is going to be easier? Is it going to be easier to travel the country and try and reach all of those people as they're dispersed all over the country? Or is it going to be easier to go to 40, 15-acre properties where you've got thousands of them congregated for like 4 years at like the most influential point in their lives? Obviously, it would be super strategic to reach them when they're on the campuses. And that's really the vision of what we're trying to do, is we want to help students on the campus discover Jesus so that then they come and teach our kids and our grandkids with a love for Jesus. They come and serve the community with a love for Jesus. They come and serve in the church with a love for Jesus. And so that's really our vision. We want to change the world by helping students discover Jesus. As many of you may be aware, for the last few years, my wife Natalie and I have been working on the campuses in Waterloo. There's a picture here of the group we've been ministering with in Waterloo from our year-end banquet last year, and it's been a joy and a privilege to get to work on those two campuses for the last 4 years. Starting up kind of in August, September of this year, though, we have actually transitioned to a new role. We're still working with Campus for Christ, but we have joined a new team. You can see the picture of our team. There's 7 of us there. This is a picture of our new team. We have transitioned to work in basically Campus for Christ's R&D department. We are working in developing new resources, new tools, new strategies to help the campuses across Canada discover Jesus, help their students discover Jesus. And so it's been really exciting to transition into this role. We're still living in Waterloo, and we're working out of an office with our team in Guelph, and so there's a short little commute for us there. But I wanted to share, there's a whole whackload of projects we're working on right now, but I wanted to just highlight a couple of the projects that we are working on right now, and then share a couple ways that you can be praying for us. So the main sort of overarching project that we are working on is something called My Cravings. My Cravings is a sort of an umbrella strategy or brand that Campus for Christ across Canada is using to engage with students on campus. And really what it is all about here is that we want to help students, first of all, consider their cravings at a deeper level. So the first point, as you can see on the screen here on the next slide there, Brandon, is that we want to help students consider their cravings at a deeper level. So we want students to take a moment to actually stop and to pause. What are the things that actually drive you? What are the things in life that you crave? Okay? We're so busy in life doing all kinds of things, going from class to work to hanging out with friends, but underneath every single small decision, like grabbing a coffee at Starbucks, to every single big decision about who are we going to date or marry or career we're going to go to, there are motivations. But often we don't stop to actually think about what are those motivations that drive us. So first of all, we want to help students to pause and to reflect on their cravings at a deeper level. Why am I wanting to date this guy or this girl? Well, it's because I'm searching for love. Okay, so it's not just I want a friend around, it's because I'm searching for love. Then we want to help them not only consider their cravings at a deeper level, we want them to realize they're looking for satisfaction quite often in the wrong places. So they're searching for love. That's a great thing. The problem is, though, that a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, children will never ultimately satisfy our craving for love. They point us towards the fact that we are searching for love, but ultimately only Jesus actually totally satisfies our craving for love. So we want to help students stop to pause and consider their cravings. We want to then help them to realize that where they're trying to find satisfaction is not working, but that Jesus actually is the true source of the hope we're made for. And so we started by focusing on kind of 4 main cravings. Love. The next one is justice. The next one is escape. And then fourthly, power. And so these are sort of the 4 that we have started out focusing on, because these, I think, really are very prevalent and significant in the lives of students, searching for love, trying to initiate social change and to see justice happen, escaping out of this world to jump into video games or to TV or the internet or all kinds of different things like that, and then searching for success, searching for significance, for the best grades that you can get, for the best job that you can get, for the best status that you can get. And so those are really the 4 initial areas that we are focusing in on, is our cravings for love, our craving for justice, for power, and for escape. And so the first main campaign that we did across Canada that Natalie and I, along with a few others, were working on this summer was a contest called Paid versus Aid. And this is one that we can kind of update on what's happened. We just finished it, so it ran for about the first 2 months of the semester. And Paid versus Aid is a contest where students would, during the beginning of the year, they'd come by a booth that we'd have set up on campus, and they'd enter this contest, and they would have a chance to win a prize. And there was going to be one winner on every campus across Canada, and the winner gets $1,000. But they don't just get $1,000 straight up. They get $1,000, and then they are offered a choice with what they want to do with that $1,000. Okay, so as you can see here, there's kind of 4 icons. You can go back actually, Brandon, there. So you can see in the top, the first option they have is they can actually get $1,000 towards their tuition, which is a pretty good deal. The second option is that they could choose to give $1,000 towards providing 2 families in Haiti with shelters. The third option down here is they could provide a significant part of a well for a community in Benin. And the fourth option is they could provide $1,000 to support 22 orphans in Tanzania. And so they have a choice. You have $1,000, which would you choose? And as you can probably imagine, that's not necessarily an easy choice. Why did we create the contest like this? Why did we confront students with this choice? Well, at the core reason why we've confronted them with this choice was because we wanted to jar them. We wanted to jar them to consider the choices they're making. What are the undergirding motivations? So not only which would you choose, but why would you choose it? Okay? There's not a right or wrong answer to this question, but there is motivations why we would choose it. Well, I would choose tuition because I really think that if I finish my education, I can have an even bigger change in the world. I would choose orphans because I think everyone should have someone to love them. Okay, well, why do you value love? You know, I would choose shelter because I think everybody deserves to have a roof over their home. Okay, why do you think we deserve that? What impact does that make on your life when you see people around you, when you interact with them? And so we had roughly about 25,000 students across Canada in the first 3 weeks of school enter this contest. It was really exciting. Really big hype across Canada with this. And then you can skip ahead a couple slides here, Brandon. So there's just a picture of a booth that we had, and then this slide, next slide there, is students had a chance to not only sign up for this contest, but they filled out a comment card, kind of like the one here, and they were asked the question of, would you like to receive a free magazine that explores cravings on love, or justice, or power, or escape? And we had just an absolutely amazing response. Of the people that entered the contest, there's about 25,000 that entered the contest, just a little less. We had just under 15,000 people say they wanted to meet up with us to receive a free magazine. 15,000. Now, that's a lot of follow-up to do, as you might imagine. And the magazine specifically was designed to give it out to students, and you could give them an article, say, here, there's this great article on love, but then do you have 10 minutes? There's this article in the back that just has had a really significant impact on my life, and it's just a real simple presentation of the gospel, presentation of Jesus' love for us, and that Jesus came and died on the cross for us, and the gift that is offered to us through that. And what we found was, as we started meeting with students, it was such an easy inroad to share the gospel with them. In fact, we were seeing almost twice to 3 times the fruitfulness of people coming to Christ in the first couple weeks of school through this strategy. It was so exciting. In fact, so far this year, compared to last year, we've seen twice as many people come to Christ this year compared to last year, which is just really exciting as students are having a chance to discover Jesus. And so that was kind of the first strategy that we've been working on. And then the next strategy that I want to introduce to you is something called My Story. Now,